Ooh boy, Ready or Not. I don't think it's a stretch to call Ready or Not a pretty big game. You've probably played it yourself, or heard of it at least, but just in case you haven't, Ready or Not is a spiritual successor to SWAT 4, which, like Ready or Not, is a SWAT simulator. Similar to Milsim games like Insurgency Sandstorm and Squad, Ready or Not is supposed to be a more unforgiving FPS, using more realistic mechanics than the ones in usual shooters like Call of Duty. In this game, you take a hold of the judge. You command the SWAT team to accomplish missions that SWAT officers do in real life. But as you could tell from the title of the video, I don't think Ready or Not accomplishes what it sets out to do well. And that is because of a lot of reasons, like overpriced DLCs, careless management of dark subject matter, AI behavior, and not sticking to its original vision. For this video, I'll split up the complaints into sections, and then I'll explain my thoughts there.
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Money!
I've decided to talk about the DLCs first because it's the easiest to talk about and adds to another complaint later on in the video. Ready or Not has 3 DLCs during the recording of this video: Home Invasion, Dark Waters, and Boiling Point. Each DLC contains 3 maps and cosmetics to judge, like watches and tattoos. Sounds good, right? Well, I forgot to say something about each DLC. And that is, each DLC costs $10. Yeah, that's right. $10 for 3 hours of gameplay, or sometimes less. Now, I've only bought and played Home Invasion, but from my research, all the DLCs are similar. Similar in the fact that it does not need to cost that much, especially for a game that's already sold as much as Ready or Not. And I know some of you who've played Ready or Not are screaming at me to talk about the weapons added with these DLCs. Well, the weapons are free for everyone to use, not just the people who bought the DLCs. So it would be disingenuous to say these guns comes with the paid DLC, since everyone can use them. It just baffles me that Void Interactive could upload so little content for that price, especially when the game still has content issues. The game has officially been out on Steam since 2023, and the updates they've given to the game are very much disappointing, seemingly to care more about changing little aesthetics in each level rather than giving us new maps, gameplay modes, and better AI behavior, which transitions us to the next section I'm going to talk about.
I am a robot. I am a robot.
This subject has been talked to death in the Ready or Not community, so I'll keep it short. The enemy and ally AI in this game is not very consistent. Sometimes enemies are well enough to handle, but sometimes they have laser vision and laser aim that can beam you across the map. Sometimes allies can detain an enemy and a gun quickly, and sometimes they decide not to do that and just stand there. As well, when you tell them to fall in, they just stand there. It doesn't help that a lot of maps can be long range, like Grease Palms and Hide and Seek, which just makes the problems I've said 10 times worse. I would hope Void Interactive would fix these issues the fans have about the game, but it seems like little has changed over the 3 years this game has been out.
It's time to get really serious!
Ooh, this might get me some flack, but I really do believe Ready or Not does not handle dark subject matter with care. Dark subject matter like human trafficking and pedophilia, and I think this is no better seen than in the last main campaign mission of Ready or Not, Hide and Seek. This mission decides to tackle the subject matter of human trafficking, but heavily dramatized. Heavily. You're in a shipment yard, going to bust a human trafficking ring, but there's an issue. In a game that claims to be a realistic window into a SWAT officer's operations, this map has over 20 suspects with full bulletproof vests and fully decked out guns ready to snap you across the map. So yeah, not off to a good start. How is this realistic? Then, once you get into the main area of the map, there's a man in a gimp outfit that charges at you with a knife. Not a gun, but a knife. Which, okay. And once you get into the room, there's monitors and laptops. And on those monitors and laptops are people with masks from like the Phantom of the Opera or Eyes Wide Shut. Cliche shit like that. And once you come in, they close off, right? They log off. And in that same room you're in, on the ceiling, there's a a spider made out of mannequins. Okay, so how the hell is this realistic? This is some shit you'd see in a superhero comic or crime drama. This is absurd to the fullest degree. And this isn't the only mission that this happens on. Valley of the Dolls, The Spider, and Carriers of the Divine are some of the maps that just have over the top depictions of pedophilia and human trafficking, which on first viewing is shocking and maybe, good to see. I mean, not good like it's a good thing, but like, that this game has good writing. But on further inspection, it is utterly ridiculous and hard to take seriously, which leads to my next and final criticism. Now, I've been with Ready or Not since day one, since it first released on early access on Steam, and I remember it fondly. And what I'm going with this is that I've been through it all, right? I've seen it all, and all throughout, Void has marketed the game as a realistic depiction of SWAT life, a SWAT simulator, a spiritual successor to SWAT 4. But everything that's been added to the game since then has proven otherwise. Instead of being true to its premise, Void has decided to chase an edgy aesthetic to be the darkest shooter, the darkest, most disturbing first person shooter in the market. And instead of, I don't know, adding more maps, adding new game modes, they're deciding to add cooler guns and add a narrative of secret societies and government made super MK Ultra super soldiers, which goes against everything the game originally was. Like, how the hell are you going to say that Ready or Not is realistic and respects SWAT members when in the same game there is a level where you go up against MK Ultra sleeper agents with Batman-like outfits that have taken over the city hall and plans on blowing up skyscrapers? If you don't know, that's in the New America mission in the Boiling Point DLC. But I'm just saying it's crazy, Ready or Not was said and shown to be a game that pushes the video game medium and how controversial it is, but nothing in the game is really controversial. There's nothing that like commentates on like really the real world that crime dramas don't already do. The school shooting mission was in a college, not a high school or middle school. The depictions of human trafficking are shallow and edgy. Enemies have cartoonishly evil dialogue or baffling behavior, like in the Valley of the Dolls, where all the bodyguards are unreasonably hostile and like evil towards the SWAT members, right? Nothing in this game isn't something you usually don't see in a crime or cop drama. Ready or Not is not, in my opinion, has not lived up to SWAT 4 in gameplay mechanics and narrative. And Ready or Not losing its SWAT like spiritual successor identity is clearly shown with how it treats lethal and non lethal tactics in the game. They say, oh, we discourage players from going guns blazing. That's why we have the point system. Anyways, here's a gun from Terminator. Like, okay, bro. Like, how are you gonna say you discourage gun ho gameplay, yet only ever add guns? Right? You only add a limited amount of non-lethal items, but you keep on adding new pistols and assault rifles. Like, how does that make sense? You know? And I just hope, I hoped that the game would get better over time, right? From over the 3 years and quote unquote constant updates have gotten, right? But from the looks of it, Ready or Not will forever be in SWAT 4 shadow, you know? And I don't know, that just disappoints me. It disappoints me very much. Hello, I just want to thank you for watching the video all the way through. If you couldn't already tell, this is my first video ever. I'm sorry if it's a little rough around the edges. Sorry if it's a little, dog shit. I'm still trying to, get this whole thing working out. And yes, if you're wondering, I did get this idea from Face Full of Eyes. I've always had these thoughts about Ready or Not. It's just he inspired me to make to explain my thoughts in a video format. So shout out him, and also I'm not copying him, all right? I'm just heavily inspired. And yeah, I'll try to keep my, upload schedule to frequently, at least maybe, I don't know, a video a week, a video once a week maybe. But yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.